Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Do I sound better than normal? This is a new speaker after the problem we had yesterday.
I don't know, not necessary, but you sound okay.
Okay, that's fine. How was the James call?
Yeah, it was bad, really, the way he contacts it was not,
Okay.
but that's okay.
All
That's
right.
okay. And by the way, he lost, the lady was talking. The lady had issues, she could not connect with GoToMeeting, so she was only sound. No, but the way he was going, and he lost connection, he was using his phone, and part he was talking for about 2, 3 minutes, and then he came in on without any,
Basically,
anything.
he ignored everything she said and just started talking.
Yeah, so I stopped, basically gave him a summary of what she said because he wanted to interject, etc. I would have because I started to talk to them. But anyway, so, it's like he wants to talk again, the plan, but they would be very interested. They are using Omniture, and it looks like she was with another person, her web, whatever the person who takes care, and they are updating their website, and they are very interested.
What was the final call to action? Was the final call to action?
Call to action in 2 weeks, reschedule in 2 weeks so they can see, so we can show them. But he was looking for something about the price, so I said, no, about 30 hours, etc. And she said, no, that's very reasonable. So I said 30 hours to 50
And honestly,
hours.
I need to not be so weak for the enterprises. I need to throw on the licensing fee up front.
Yeah, don't. And to them, it gives you respectability if you say, because this is what I said, give and take, because I noticed that he was trying
He's weak.
to
He's weak.
something like 9.95. I said, well, 30
He's
hours.
weak as hell. My God, yeah, this is a big bank. He's very weak. $9.95.
No,
yeah,
no,
maybe,
I know.
Yeah, so.
No, I know. All what I'm saying, the way it's like, hesitant. So because he started, but then he said, 5,000 per month. So I didn't. So I said, give and take depending on the.
Did he not frame it the right way? Did he say it's variable dependent? Did he just say 5,000?
He said 5,000.
Without saying it's variable based on traffic, such as, did he just say?
He said based on traffic, how much do you, etc. So they said, well, maybe 1 million, whatever. So he said, well, then it would be 5,000, just like this. So, but for them, what they are looking for, it's obvious from the outset, the way she puts it, they want to increase their internet traffic.
Okay, Dad, sorry, let's get focused here to call them. I'm going to get out.
Okay.
1 second.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Nick Novichev.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Patrick from Oopgo. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
Sorry, a couple of minutes late here. I actually dialed the wrong number.
Not a problem. Hey, I just want to make sure. Are you connected? I don't see you. Are you able to see our screen?
Yeah, this says Citrix Online Launcher XC. I'm just trying to click that here.
I'm sorry, I just turned it on that. You should see your website, BBVAcompass.com, on our screen to make sure the screen sharing is working.
1 second.
No problem.
It's got something loading at the moment, so just give me 1 second.
No problem at all. How are you? How's your morning been?
It's been busy.
Yeah, everyone's as busy as well. Where are you guys located?
In Birmingham, Alabama.
Alabama. What time zone is that, if you remind me? I'm trying to think. It's 11 a.m. here.
Central Time.
Central Time, okay. So, yeah, we're close. The morning comment was relevant. So we go back and forth a lot from East to West Coast. So, yeah, I'll give you a second to get
where are you based?
We're based in La Jolla, California. It's north of San Diego.
Okay.
So, yeah, a few miles away from where you are. So.
Okay, it's trying to connect here, so just give me a minute.
No problem.
Okay, I see some people. Do I have a password or anything for this? Or
no, shouldn't be necessary.
Click OK.
Should be correct, yeah. If you click OK, assuming that your primary website is bbvacompass.com, that's all you should be seeing on the screen.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah. Can you see me online now, or?
Yeah, I see you on. We should be all set. This is
Okay.
the usual prehistoric GoToMeeting setup. So Nick, on that basis, if you wouldn't mind telling me on your end a little bit about your role within BBVA Compass, as well as I suppose what your direct goals have been on the website end, or I suppose any pain points you've had currently on your website.
Okay. First of all, my role at BBVA Compass is I'm the category manager in procurement for IT and professional services. So basically, you know, I'm kind of curious to find out what your company does, you know, the type of services you've done for banking, and then I will see if I can get, you know, similar partners in our organization to at least, you know, take a look at your services.
Okay. Great. Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, I don't know if you're familiar with, you know, the breadth of your role. Are you familiar with any analytics or search intelligence technologies you guys are currently using?
Yeah, we do use some analytics. I'm not exactly sure which one we're using today, but there are several ones which we do use.
Okay, so you guys are using a few. Okay, that's all we really need to know, just so it's definitely on your priority list. I could probably take a guess of a few in that case based on similar companies. So on that basis, I'm just going to jump right in on our end. Our company Oopgo is a digital marketing intelligence company. We have two primary integrated technologies that we're going to be giving you an approximate 15-minute capabilities overview demonstration. The two technologies is an advanced analysis and website traffic recreation. It's basically a detailed analytics program that also lets you watch everything that you see as a data record. The other asset we're going to be showing is a competitive intelligence technology, which is essentially a larger Google type index to focus in on the trends and technologies that your competitors are using effectively to stay ahead of the curve. So on that note, yeah, please feel free to interrupt me on any time. This is basically a 30,000-foot view. So of course, the next step, if there's interest on both ends, would always be a deeper, more targeted follow-up, you know, if it's interest on your company's end. So, okay, all right, so jumping right in here, once again, I'm going to be showing our analytics platform first. The biggest differentiator we have as a company on the analytics end is if I'm on a website such as yours, and let's say I move around your website, I type in, my name is Patrick, within your form. All of this information that's happening on the page is not traditionally stored by analytics technology. Analytics is creating a record when I go from a page to page, and it's kind of letting you know this person went from this page to this page at this time, keeping the transition between web pages. Our technology is capturing every individual data point of every micro action happening on your website. So what that means is, in addition to knowing how often people are going from page to page, I would be able to create a metric every time someone writes the word Patrick in your form. I'm also storing the typing speed within that form. I'm typing whether or not you deleted Patrick and wrote Bob instead within the form. All of these things are being stored as individual data records that are completely searchable in both on a macro basis over big data, as well as on an individual basis to take a closer look at each individual customer session. Does that make sense, Nick, when we talk about the depth in these examples? So even if someone, let's say, paused, they went to your site, we go to the sign-in button, and I hesitated for 10 seconds, moved around, then I left your page, we would be able to say, find me everyone on my site who moved their mouse for 5 seconds around the sign-in seal to understand someone who might have struggle or dissatisfaction. We're storing all of those individual movement points, all of those entries, and we can recreate them as metrics that are most applicable to your business.
Okay.
The other end of that coin here is because we're storing every micro action on your site, we're also recreating it all as a playable video. So this example here is if you had a piece of data on a client, you wanted to see someone in a particular scenario, you can press play on any point of data and watch exactly what your customer did from their eyes, from the same resolution settings, the same device that your client entered your site from. So in this case, it's just giving you complete insight into the way your site's being perceived from the eyes of your customer. This includes entry data as well. So for instance, in a bank's case, which is usually relevant if you want to take a monitor on form information, on selections made, in this example, total investable assets. If someone changed their decision a few times before submitting their final choice, you would be able to denote their confidence level before their final choice. You would be able to denote, for instance, for upselling sake, you would be able to track and monitor, let me know all my clients who chose a higher number under wealth and then chose a lower number before pressing submit, because they might be a better upsell candidate because they considered going a higher tier. That's a very practical example of a benefit banking specific that you're able to do using both of these technologies. On that note, so on that note there, this recreation and data sync, I'm going to show you one example because all of us, right, this is an example, I suppose, of the depth we're going into the into mobile visits. What you're going to be seeing here is if someone is visiting your website from a mobile phone, either using their fingers to navigate in most mobile phones, and what you're going to be seeing is the actual finger movement, and it's going to be the orange is the first finger touch point, the blue is the second finger touch point. So the only reason I mention that to talk about those are being differentiated, and everything you see is being stored as data once again to understand the engagement much deeper. That's a pretty quick example there. The point being was, of course, for mobile, we're going much deeper because in all reality, no one has really figured out. I feel mobile is still in discovery mode. So if you guys want to understand, are people having this, are there dissatisfaction indicators only on mobile? Is our site responsive enough? What's the average engagement time of finger movements compared to a traditional computer? You know, just to have deeper depth into answering these questions, both for usability and overall customer satisfaction. What I'm going to be showing you here is just kind of the starting. Are you personally familiar? I don't know how, if you dig deep into any of your current analytics tools or technologies, Nick, or are you more on the level of just other people give you reports?
Well, other people do it, you know. We will be involved in the negotiations of that. I'm curious on this because, you know, we are doing several things on the mobile side at the moment, and several things, you know, on the analytics have recently been done. So I'm quite interested in what you showed us so far. At least, you know, I might be in a position to forward that to the right people and get their responses.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, just to see how top level. I'll keep this once again very, very quick. The point being here for when I talk about data being directly tied to records, any traditional, you know, any traditional piece of data your company wants to store, traditional metrics. If you click on any particular segment that is directly linked to these video views, I'm going to open up a couple demo examples for relevant.
And is this customizable in the sense that if, say, our line of business people wanted to be more specific in certain areas?
Absolutely, 100%. So if you wanted to define a key metric in your case of people who hesitated on a security seal on your website, you would be able to define that metric as concerned customers. You would be able to, all this data is completely customizable. What I'm showing here is more from a usability sake. We have this intermediary view for each session, all the people in this case who came from Google. You can click and play their video directly from this view to see what happened in that session, or you can click view details and go a bit deeper into your client's history. Oh, there, I guess this is an okay example to us.
So you can basically look at every hit you've made, basically.
You can look at every hit you made. Correct. And yeah, you can look at, this is the entire, this is for one customer, their entire past experience. It's all playable from one dashboard. So if I click view session here, this is going to show what they did on 2/11. They were on for 20 minutes. And all this data is customizable to your own personal KPIs. If you wanted to sync with your system, for instance, and say, I want to look at clients who either are long-term clients, someone who'd entered your page 10 times, filled out a lot of information, and now you want to figure out why you aren't able to close them. So it's just, yeah, we're not going to dig. Once again, but the point is we have it all strategically integrated. I believe all of the views I've showed you are exclusive to our company. It's proprietary technology, particularly, the depth of the mobile, being able to see and play this from one screen. Using things such as a panoramic view is created here because we're also creating snapshots of every page on your website, because we've found that particularly when business want to get involved in the analysis, they don't want to see a lot of numbers, a lot of data, a lot of jargon. This is a very common sense view that a lot of times, a C-level executive might want to understand something by viewing it as well. So that's one of the big, I suppose, assets or differentiators, is the simplicity with the sophistication of being able to delve deeper. So.
Okay, your system, if it's running in the background, does it slow the access or the screens themselves, or is there no impact?
No impact. I mean, it's 0.2 milliseconds. If you're familiar with the mainstream Google, we're less impact than Google Analytics, less impact than all of our competitors. It is a very slight impact, but less than a general resource on your website. So.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the big differentiator from here when we talk about first company to get to this depth. Is there's a lot of ways to do this. The way we're doing it now, it required a download on both of our computers to share the screen. This is 100% non-intrusive. This is recording all of the data points of what your customers did and replaying it, which doesn't require any obtrusiveness on your customer's end, doesn't require any specific permission. So that's, from a technical standpoint, what the value is. So aside from this, not to dig too deep once again, is just we have a lot of intelligence modules to be able to, in this case, if I wanted to define, we mentioned security concern. If I wanted to create any custom segment of website to be able to search all of my other information with, we have a color system set up, because from the other views I had shown, we have the colors displayed in every module. So your KPIs can be listed much simpler, much easier to identify from multiple views when it's color-coded, as opposed to having long-winded, segments labeled. So this is just an example of a way you could feasibly use the data. You could say, I want all of my site traffic who have made 10 purchases in the past to be listed as purple. And we have quite a few different organizational systems within here to use the information on a macro basis, and inter-organizationally to send emails about reporting of different segments and different, different high-value portions of a website. So, for instance, you would be able to export any of these videos or any of this data via email, and you'd be able to send it to someone else within the organization. You'd be able to download it in different formats. So, once again, we're not going to dig too deep now, but that's just the premise of this is all one unified data source. We created all this in-house, so we don't rely on any third-party applications where, pretend I have my fingers up right now in quotes to say when we say things are integrated, in a lot of cases, having 2 points integrated is a lot different than having everything in the core build. It just gives you a lot more flexibility on our end. So. Do you, at this point,
is it hosted on your systems or is it hosted on our systems?
Either. By default, it's hosted on our end. It's all website-based. I would say in banks, 1 out of every 3 would want to host them internally as well. But either way, of course.
I'm asking those questions is because of potential data security and things like that, which we would have to overcome if we decided to use a product like yours.
Yeah, we do, of course, have
bank customer security and things like that.
Yeah. I will say that from a security, even if we host it on our end, we can encrypt the data for our technicians to make it completely secure. Of course, we're going to sign NDAs both ways. Well, we're not going to have access to any of your data except for being able to manipulate the dashboards when we initially set it up. So we can encrypt that information. So, if you see Bob, I can have it listed differently. So on that note, I'm going to jump right in. That's our analytics technology. I'm just going to give you a top-level view of our other asset, once again, is digital competitive intelligence. What this is we've created a website index. We've collected information on every website on the internet. Similar to what Google does is it stores information on X amount of websites. Then when you go into search, you're able to search different words used on a website. You know, that's what a general search engine index does. Our differentiator is we have approximately 5 times as many websites as Google. We have approximately 180 million websites stored within our intelligence platform. Google's estimated to have approximately 30 million. Bing's estimated to have around 15 to 20. So the point is it gives you complete insight into what's happening on the internet. The practical deliverable using this technology here is the screen you see would be you highlighting your key competitors, and we would be able to get trends on their estimated traffic every week and every month. You would be able to monitor this over, let's say, a few month period, and you would be able to see in cases such as my competitor had a 40% increase in traffic. He also had 10,000 more Facebook likes, and he changed 3 headlines on his website. There's obviously probably a correlation between those two things happened. You should probably take a closer look and see if your company wants to use similar protocol. This also applies to technologies. If someone invented XYZ technology tomorrow, your competitors are using it and have a significant increase of traffic. Because this is public information listed on a website within the source code, the same way Google is storing this information, we would be able to just have a much clearer way to give your company automated awareness into what's going on to make sure you stay ahead of the curve. The last example I'm going to show in this potential deliverable is industry is listed on the bottom left here. So what most companies will want to see with this is they'll want to see key competitors on their own dashboard, then their industry. If your company told me I wanted to find my industry as every website who uses the word bank and has been existent for 5 years, we could run a check on all of those websites. Let's say the number was 10,000. And we would update on any incremental basis, let's say a month by default. We would be able to say what's the average page load speed of your industry, what's the technologies that were updated in the last month, and any other details that are detectable from a website source code.
Okay.
Do you have questions, Nick, on that?
No, keep going. I mean, I'm just taking it all in.
Okay. I'll just show you a practical. So this was any company, particular enterprise and banks such as yourself, we're going to customize this. We're going to spend 6 to 10 hours going back and forth about your KPIs and what you wanted. We have capabilities to make this dashboard 1,000 times as big, but I was just showing you a practical deliverable. Our default offering, the way this is displayed is it's within the same dashboard as our analytics technology. The simple way to show this is, let's bring up ABCD as an example. So this is doing a search throughout our database for every website with ABCD listed within the name. So let's say my competitor's ABCD Lady. I add them directly to a dashboard. I see what their traffic rank was. I see, in their case, it's not a great example, probably a small site, but I see their page load speed. And if I want to compare 3 of my competitors side by side, we click Compare Sites. And it just gives you a more detailed view, including an assembly of charts and analysis on comparisons. I showed this because this is kind of the default to do basic analysis. The chart here was, in most cases, we'll spend a few hours and customize this. So the capability is the main takeaway here to understand what your options are. And I can tell you unquestionably for your company, any of the size, we're going to want to talk and say, here's how we want this customized for our sake.
Okay.
So, yeah, that concludes on my end this introduction. Do you have any questions or want to dig deeper on any particular portion? Or?
No, I mean, I can see a lot of potential uses for your software. It's just now what I need to do is, get that to some marketing people and see, what the interest is and see whether then, if there is an interest, to set up a meeting where you can represent this to some other people.
Great. Yeah, that's our objective in everything is getting to the right person and just demonstrating value on a surface level. So,
question, do you have any kind of PDF presentation which you can email to me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, we can send. Of course, you want it fairly short. We can send you a couple one-page capability decks as well as 5-page slide about
because obviously if I'm going to reach out to some people, I want to be able to show them something to to excite their interest, and kind of type of applications you've done in the banking industry. You don't have to tell us who. That's
Yeah,
what
we.
you've done, you know.
Great. Do you have an extra few minutes? I can show you a case. You know, I can't. We don't give any client information. It's all, of course, important to you as well, completely confidential. But we did create a couple mock-ups of case studies and scenarios. Do you have a couple minutes, Nick, or is that something you'd rather have attached in a document?
No, you can show me, and then you know, if you can give me some information on that in PDFs or any other presentation, that would work. PowerPoint, whatever.
No problem. Yeah, PDFs, I can get those out to you within a couple days for sure. And of course, if there's a need for another personal demonstration, it's always any you know, in-depth technical technology. The PDFs are always very surface level, so we can dig as deep as anyone wants if you want any tech or marketing on the line. So I'll just in that case, I'll show you one case if you ask if you let me know if it's relevant to attach. So I vaguely prefaced a bank with their biggest goal in their end was upselling current clients, particularly on the wealth management portion. They said that they've realized it's much more beneficial for them as opposed to going after new clients. Their issue was that they wanted a way to understand, number one, they wanted to make their primary contact form, their site's call to action, they wanted to make it as efficient as possible to not lose any leads, and they also wanted to get a better idea of the best clients to upsell. You know, I'd mentioned this example earlier of the way we did this is we chose, when they chose a higher number, then chose a lower, we labeled those as better upsell candidates. And in their case, it worked out very successful to say they're only going to upsell because they wanted to put more effort into who's worth putting effort into and not just, you know, put the same diligence into every client. What I'm going to be showing you here is a couple actual metrics we created based to make these conclusions. What this is here is we took the contact form and we measured the average engagement time within each particular field. We labeled the confidence level of every entry made within their form because this gave them a very firm metric to say, if you're a bank, you want everything as clear as possible. We don't want people having to make 5 different decisions about what they're interested in because likely they're not that interested if that's the case. So we just were able to detect firm metrics on a macro basis, and we were able to give them their own particular analytics that applied, you know, before we made our conclusion. So this is just an example: average time within a form, confidence level, the amount of customers who filled out the field without going back, the average time it took. So this is an example of a macro-based offering on their end. What this is here is a individual view of all of their clients if they filled out this form, and let's say they didn't even click submit here. If I wrote my information and let's say I had an internal computer issue or I left for another reason, we're labeling these as an abandoned visitor, and we're creating a form entry for each of these, saying what did the client do, how long did they pause and hesitate. So I don't want to dig, I went a bit deep there already, but the point here is this was a way to use our capabilities of digging much deeper to solve a very specific problem and also customize our backend to their scenario.
Okay.
Is that a case study example going to be relevant on your end to attach, or what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, that will be relevant. I can certainly, obviously we have a wealth management group, so that's something I can send off to them as well. And then, you know, any other sort of examples you got in the banking segment would help.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Probably risk management.
Risk management is obviously a big piece in the bank as well.
Okay. All right. That's great, Nick.
I mean, I can see, you know, I can see a lot of applications for this. It's just, like I say, you know, the difficulty as a first step is to, you know, have people who are willing to look at it for 5 minutes and then realize, oh, I could use this in my area. So that's the next stage which I need to figure out.
Yeah, that's why our documents
be interested in the bank.
Yeah, every request we get is shorter, basically for docs. That's why I asked.
It's not easy because, you know, we got 11,000 people in the bank, so it's
definitely. Okay, Nick, well, in that case, it sounds like our best, if I can get some information out to you within a couple days, give you some contact information our end, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out directly.
Yep. And then, you know, I'll put some feelers out, see what the feedback is, and, you you know, we've done some recent things, not in your area, but, you know, we've done some recent things in risk and wealth and customer analytics and that type of stuff. So I'm going to reach out to those people, you know, show them your presentations, what you're going to give me, and see whether I can generate an interest for someone who will want to pursue this.
Nick, if I might add another idea, you know, in the risk management, think about the black box that is used in aviation and the record keeping. So this is the ideal 100% black box that is usable by any institution, especially in banking also, to record everything and keep documentation there in such a way that there is no ifs or buts, because everything entered or everything through the navigation, especially with the internet being used, you know, you will have that. So this is just another idea to add, because the application in banking are tremendous and very, very numerous. And the beauty of this product with Oopgo is that we customize everything. So part of the process initially is we sit down with you, look at all your needs, all your interests, etc., and we sit down and model basically our product to fit your needs and make it do what you want it to do, period.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, also in addition to that, you know, mobile banking is, you know, is obviously a thing for the future, which is happening in every bank at the moment. Any presentations in that area, also send them to me.
Let me ask. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely. I'm making all these notes. I might attend.
We're developing apps, and we're trying to do things in that area, and it obviously will be interesting for certain people, I'm sure, to be able to get feedback on the kind of customer interest we're generating out of that.
Definitely. Good. Okay, Nick. Well, we have some docs to send to you. Once again, reach out if there's any other questions, and it was nice talking to you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.